This theory is based off of exposition that doesn't show up until the final chapter of the game. I'm not going to be giving the context for the characters learning this, or actually showing the cutscene it comes from, but just be aware of that. Also, the only cutscenes I'm going to be showing are the ones from Finch's Blade Quest, which show off all the party members and require you to have been to the main Titan of Chapter 6 for, so beware of those spoilers too.
Things are really spicing up!
Yes, hello, my name is Luxon, and I love this bird.
You are my precious bird child, and I would gladly topple a nation if it meant getting any official merch of you.
But, amid listening to all her battle voice clips on repeat and retweeting all the fan art I can find, I did actually come up with two theories as to why she has her memory loss. One is based off her Blade Quest, and the other is based off of the late game exposition I warned you about. So we'll start with the less spoilery one first, and then move on to the more one if you want to hear as much as you possibly can. Basically, the first theory is that her original driver, or the one most responsible for affecting her personality when they were resonated, was a Turken. We see in her Blade Quest, and as well as a couple other times, so it's not exclusive to this, that Turken are capable of speech. They have similar to Nopon speech patterns, but they're implied to have a lesser level of intelligence than any of the types of humans or Nopon themselves. Now, not having human-level intelligence isn't actually a problem because we see a lot of full-on monsters, i.e. things with animal-level intelligence, that are also drivers, and in fact, one of the rare blades you get, as required by the story, had a monster as its first driver. You see the Titan that birthed Wulfric's core crystal, and then you have to immediately fight the Arachno that resonated with it, and it's implied that his monstrous appearance, although obviously his personality is different, so it's possible that that Arachno was a mother or something and wanted to defend its nest or whatever, and that's why he's actually a nice guy deep down. But his appearance and some of his mannerisms do indeed come from the fact that his original driver was a monster. The original driver has some sort of bigger sway over what a blade looks and acts like as compared to anyone else who re-resonates with their core crystal later on. There aren't really any other blades we actually see what's guaranteed to be the first resonance with besides Mithra herself, and yeah, Adam was human so she looks human, so that's not an ironclad thing, but in Finch's side quest, we get to meet the Turken Countess, who, let's see, forgets things a lot, and they have a little back and forth of them constantly forgetting each other's names over and over again and getting worse and worse as they go on. Now, obviously that was just intended, oh, it's a comedic scene and she keeps forgetting stuff, but as far as I can tell, this is the most personality any individual Turken is given in the entire game, so we don't know if all the others are like this. Now, obviously she wasn't Finch's first driver herself, since we don't even know if she is one in the first place, doesn't appear to be one because she doesn't have a blade and requires actual Turken warriors to protect her and that kind of stuff, but we do know it's a fact that it's possible for Turken to exhibit those behaviors, so if an older one generations past resonated with a core crystal, then hey, look at that, they get a blade with a similar personality trait of forgetting stuff. Obviously it was just used to establish a connection between the two of them forgetting, but the exact same effect that the little spark bubbles going out of their head to represent them forgetting is used for both of them. Additionally, Turken are the most humanoid-like bird species in the entire game. A lot of the other bird-type enemies are either just regular birds or bigger regular birds, so if we go by the theory that a blade's original driver also determines their appearance to some degree, then a Turken would be the race that makes the most sense to have been her original driver. The biggest thing I can say for sure against this theory is that her weapon is a hammer, and most of the enemy Turken you fight use some sort of spears, so a lance blade might have made more sense for them, and element-wise, wind might not make the most sense since a lot of Turken live in Tantal or Gormat, which make me think more ice or earth respectively, but at the very least, the positives outweigh the negatives in this case, and I'm pretty sure there's nothing that directly refutes it. But we got another theory, and this one's got more spoilers in it, so brace yourselves. The second theory is that Finch's short-term memory loss is caused by her having short-term memory loss. I know, it's so surprising. But really what I mean is the blade version of short-term memory loss, because obviously blades and humans work differently. We find out in Chapter 10 that the core crystal was originally designed to be a biomechanical replacement for human brain cells, and that they function by storing up information referred to as memories of all life on the planet, and that's how they gain new data and new information, how blades become stronger over time. Since a core crystal is basically a different version of a human brain, wouldn't it make sense for blades to, well, be able to have similar sorts of conditions that humans can? Of course, there's even precedent for blades being able to completely wipe their memories. Every time a driver dies, that happens, so maybe some of the wiring in Finch's core crystal got messed up and it fires off and makes her forget some things just at random, as opposed to always waiting until her driver dies. If we choose to go down the more this is a parallel to a specific human condition route, there's a lot less evidence for that because, well, memory loss in general is usually caused by external factors like taking certain medications, doing drugs, sleep deprivation, or head injuries. Of course, a couple of her specials do involve her smashing her head straight into the ground, but we're talking about core crystals here, and that's not where hers is, so it wouldn't be caused by that. Yes, memory loss can also be caused by things like depression and anxiety that you can be born with, but, like, you've seen Finch. I'm pretty sure we can all agree she doesn't have either of those. We can probably also rule out whatever the blade equivalent of dementia is, because blades don't age physically in that way, so there's really no way for them to get an aging-related illness in the first place. That being said, it's also just possible to kind of be born with it as a condition that you have. Human reproduction isn't perfect, and that's also far from the worst birth defect you could be born with, so the fact that blade core crystals, or their brains, were originally derived from humans making things, and science can very much attest to the fact that humans are far worse at designing things than nature is, and if even nature screws up in that way every now and then, I'm pretty sure it's also possible for humans too. And while I don't want to blame humans for Finch's forgetting things, it was also a human who created her, so I guess I can't be too mad at us this time. But until next time, this is Luxon, signing off.